I'm back. 2 minutes later in my time, a couple days later in yours. It's your favorite director's favorite director. In the famous words of Alison De Laurentiis, did you miss me? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm in the same outfit because it's been 2 minutes and I could not go to this next episode. 4 and 5 have been talked about a lot. I'm getting into 5. I'm assuming that because 4 was LYLE's perspective of the events, I'm getting ready to get Erik's perspective, which, if I know myself, and I've been sensitive these last couple of days, I am going to be crying. And that's just what it is, you guys. I don't think that you're here because I don't cry. I think that you're here because you love me, hopefully. No, I'm excited to get into it. Everything that I said in the previous videos, pretty much accurate. I'm gonna be posting on Patreon if I have not done already. Remember to just kind of comment down below what you guys want me to react to, what you guys would want me to see. It can be pretty much anything. I'm open to anything. I haven't seen a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things and I don't remember them, and I've seen a lot of things and I love them and I'll watch them again. So I'm excited. Yeah, I really do just want to jump right into this. I don't think I need to spend any time on the introduction. It's not necessary. If you enjoy it and you love being here, great. Pull up a seat, lay down, get comfortable, find something to eat, find something to drink. We're gonna dive in, but before we do so, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling, how's your mental health. I hope that everything is good in your world, because it is great over here in mine. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into it, right? I'm stressing. I'm over here stressed out. This is the first time we saw the title card this early. Hi, Erik, my little bean.
Sorry.
It's okay. There's nothing else to do.
I know, right?
Stop it. Damn it! I didn't even get 50 seconds in before I deposit. You guys, you want to know why I'm pausing it? Look at the smile on his face. Oh, my baby is finding peace. Oh, I could cry because that is such a beautiful thing for me to see for him. That is so sorry about that, guys. That is such a beautiful thing for me to see. Like, he's genuinely smiling. He's so happy to see her because it probably feels so good for him to have this mother figure that he didn't actually have, that didn't protect him, that didn't care about him, that didn't care about his well-being. And then here comes Leslie being Leslie. How could you possibly not like her? Anybody? Like, this is so beautiful. Look at how happy he is. You know what? Stop. I'm gonna make myself mad.
I found a friend who's just made being in here easier.
I talked to Lyle about the things you told Dr. Vickery.
Yeah.
And, you know, rough stuff with
No. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to scroll ahead because this shot is so interesting. This shot is so interesting. This is what's called a static shot. So you have two type of different shots. You have you guys, just in case you're wondering, you have a static shot and you have a dynamic shot. A static shot is usually when the camera gets set up on a tripod and it's static like this. There's no movement happening. Obviously, like, they're moving, like their heads are moving, but like the camera itself is not moving. Then you have a dynamic shot, and that's usually when you get like a trolling shot or a dolly shot or tracking, following, tilt, pan, all of that stuff. So it's kind of when the camera moves and you're getting those angles. So most of the time you get it like if people are walking, the camera is moving backwards. This is just a static shot. And I think what's interesting about this, and I was so baffled, and this is also the shortest episode so far. I was baffled by the static shot for a second because it was on for a very long time. There was no cut, but then I realized, and as I scrolled through, that it stays like this, which also means that this was shot in a single fucking take. If there's no cutting in between. This was shot in a single take. That means that they set up a camera for 35 minutes and they let these two act. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this episode. I'm going to enjoy this episode. I'm going to enjoy it. I am such a whore for a well shot episode. And regardless of Ryan Murphy's questionable decision making during this series, this is a better one.
That however much you loved this man, he was a monster.
Yeah, it was much worse. Where should I start?
Before he gets into it, they're also doing a push, a very, very slow push, which is just, or a slow zoom. So that means that they're not actually moving the camera in. They're literally just zooming the camera in. It's exactly what it sounds like. And a lot of the times when we get a static shot like this, and when you get a zoom like this, it's to make what they're saying the focal point. If you have too many things going on in a shot, the camera is moving, the people are moving, the people are talking, there are loud noises in the background, the ambient noise is loud, the music is loud. When you have that, it's really hard for the viewer and the audience to kind of pinpoint what to focus on. So when you do this and you set up the camera like this, it kind of brings us in to their world, and it makes us just kind of sit here and watch and listen. It makes us listen to what he has to say, because what he's getting ready to tell us is important. It's important to the case, it's important to him, it's important to her. And so that's kind of why the camera got set up like this. And this is really fun for me, because as a director, this is kind of my opportunity to kind of more so react to the directing style. The whole time I've kind of been reacting to it bits and pieces, but this is like the first time I'm able to like really hone in on like what you're saying.
I always felt like Lyle was my my protector. Arlington, I was 6 when I started with him, and I remember it was happening around then. The massages did.
I think it's important to note, and I was just kind of in there. I was with him the whole time. I think it's important to note that he doesn't blame his brother, and he doesn't see what his brother did to him as abuse, but he sees what his father did to him as abuse. I think that that's really interesting, and I think that he's been able to separate it because he's aware that his brother went through it, and that his brother was not doing it because he wanted to and he liked it, which is what his dad which is why his dad was doing it, right? He wanted to and he liked it. His brother was doing it because it's all he knew. And he's already told us that he wanted to normalize that. And he's clearly apologized to Erik several times. So I think that that's interesting. I also think that it's interesting that Erik had tried to run away several times, and I was gonna say nobody questioned it, but I'm fairly certain a couple of you guys have stated that like family members kind of were on the side of the boys. Like they were kind of like, yeah, they did some really questionable things. So I think that that's interesting.
And my mom she would do it too. They would gang up on me. Like if I said I was scared of the closet, they'd lock me in the closet until I stopped screaming. I knew I wasn't gonna die, but still, it was just like, why would you do that?
I adore Erik. I adore this man. And I think it's obviously tip of the hat to both of the actors, Lyle and Erik. Their actors are phenomenal. But listen to what he's saying. I knew my dad hated me. I knew he didn't like me. Doesn't that make it even more fucking confusing for a kid? You don't even like me and you're doing all of this stuff I don't understand it. And then it's like, do you question that? Are you like, are you doing this only to hurt me? Because that's even more confusing for a fucking child. Wow. That's gotta be so confusing. And then his mom just joined in, just for funsies. Like we're in high school. Like we're in grade school. Oh, you don't like the closet? Get in there. It's like stuffing a kid into a locker. Just bullies. That's the word for his parents. Bullies.
Well, at first he was like he was finally nice. But when it was just you and him,
What?
That's when he'd tell me that he loved me.
When he was abusing you.
Yeah.
What Erik was describing when he said when your parents don't think Excuse me, you guys. That is so disrespectful. I'm sorry. When he's saying when your parents don't think that you're tough enough or they think that you lack in that area, all he's talking about is femininity. Being in touch with your femininity. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to have emotion. It's okay to feel things. And I think that, again, I have to go back to this contradiction and this confusion of a child when in front of people you are hitting him and you are bullying him and you are calling him names. But then when you want something like sexual gratification from your 6-year-old son, you take him upstairs and you tell him you love him. And you tell me how a kid is not going to get confused, how a kid is not going to struggle to understand that, how a kid would. So then at that point, you're literally correlating love to sexual gratification. You are literally correlating that. This is what love looks like. This is what love is. No, come on.
It was just me and him. And that was good.
And then the massages changed.
He'd massage my penis. It wasn't scary yet, what we were doing. Except I think I didn't want to. Like, I would try not to do it. Definitely 2nd grade.
It's like when you hear the age, okay, cool. But then I hear the grade, and I'm thinking, 2nd grade? 2nd grade? 2nd grade, this was happening. In 2nd grade. My God, in 2nd grade, I was so excited to play on the dragon playground set. In 2nd grade. Those were my cares. I was like, oh my God, am I going to make it up the steps? Oh my God, am I going to be able to go down the slide? Oh my God, are my friends going to want to play dragon with me? I wasn't like, 2nd grade. And then it's like, it's like even then, like they're saying that they comprehended it enough to know I didn't want to do it. It's not something that I wanted to do. And as an adult, and it's so interesting because I talk about this quite often lately, emotion. And when you don't know how to express that, it kind of becomes jarring and unsettling. I am 27 and sometimes I struggle with expressing my emotion in any capacity, whether it's something I want to do, whether it's something I don't want to do, whether it's something that made me hurt or sad or mad or angry or happy. It's very hard to express emotion sometimes at 27. I cannot imagine what that must have felt like at 6 or 7 years old. I have a nephew and he struggles with expressing himself. So we throw temper tantrums and we and we cry and we scream. But at 6 and 7, they didn't even have that option because at 6 and 7, they were doing things that most adults haven't even done. So it's just like, I don't understand, like it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for them that this is what they knew growing up. That like while the world was moving and maturing and growing, they were kind of stuck in this cycle of abuse. And their only way out was death.
He called them naked mouth massages. It was just the only time I felt like I had a real relationship with my dad. It also felt
nice.
I was gonna say, he said when I did it to him, it felt dirty. But when he did it to me, he stopped himself from saying it. And I think that there's an embarrassment and a shame and a guilt in that of knowing that it was wrong, especially as you get older and you mature and you understand what was actually happening to you. I think that he knew that like what was happening was wrong, so he felt like he shouldn't feel nice. But it was like I said in the last video, physiologically you can't control what feels good. Like you can't control that, especially as a kid. But I think that it's also interesting that he considered that the nice sex. If that's nice, I'm very, very scared to hear what the other sex was. And also I think that that's such a real thing. I think that, you know, in him saying that was my way, that was my relationship with my dad. Like I felt like I had a relationship with him. And I think that when we all strive for connection, and now I'm seeing that it's at 6, 7, 17, 27, 37, 47, 57, we all strive for connection with people. And sometimes when we get that connection and you realize that people just kind of play a role in your life and you have to put them where they're placed. And I think that for him, that's what he knew to be his role. And that's what he knew to be his connection with his dad. It was when we were having sex. When I was having sex with my dad, that was when we had the best relationship, is what he's saying. I felt like he loved me. I felt like he cared. I felt like everything was about me, especially when you've been so abused mentally and verbally. I can't imagine. You're feeling so abused mentally and verbally and so isolated and so secluded from everything and everybody. And he's not telling his brother what's going on because his brother is also inflicting this pain on him. So he just kind of, it was really that like any attention was good attention for him. And that is so heartbreaking that as a kid, he had to discern that.
He always said he wanted to teach me how to use my penis. Then he started to rape me. He'd take a slat from underneath the bed and he'd put it under the doorknob so that, why can't you be like Lyle? Just be a Menendez and get used to it.
Get used to it. Lie there and take it, is what his dad was saying to him. Get used to it. Lie there and take it. Why you gotta be so difficult when I'm trying to do this to you, is what his dad was saying to him at that age. And then what I find interesting is, and I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be an interesting take, guys, but I'm gonna say it anyways. What I find interesting is most people who do this to children, I think that I don't think that they don't know that it's wrong, by the way. I think that they all know that it's wrong. Some of them, however, will try to justify it by saying it's love and I can't help it. And so, yes, they'll try to hide it, but not very well. Their dad just straight out knew that what he was doing was wrong because you were conscious enough to take a slat from the bed and put it under the doorknob so nobody can get into the room. And your son is sitting here crying because physically this hurts. Physically. Because my guy, if you are physically being hurt, you're gonna, like, it's just such a natural reaction. So I'm so annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed because it's obvious. Okay.
He was comparing us again. Lyle and me, like, I wasn't good enough again, and like, all of the stuff that he'd said about loving me, like, that was just gone.
Sibling rivalry is such a real thing, and I think that it is only ever heightened when you compare siblings. When you're comparing what they do, who they are, how they act, who they spend time with, what grades they get, what sports they play. When you compare them in that light, you're literally breeding an environment of resentment for each other. And I think in this case, I think luckily the boys kind of understood what was happening enough to kind of confide in each other, and that didn't happen. But when you breed that environment, like, that causes such broken relationships amongst siblings. And it can be amongst siblings, it can be parents and children, it can be kids and their friends. Like, anytime that there's a comparison, there's always room for resentment to fester. And so I think that that's kind of what Erik was feeling in that moment. It was like, why are you comparing me to him again? Especially because you know in this moment that he loves Lyle. So if you're comparing me to Lyle, you're basically saying that you're you feel the opposite way. So you must hate me again. And then it's even more confusing because it's like, but you keep doing this stuff with me and you keep telling me that you love me.
Yeah, and you just survive, I guess. Okay, I got through that. I'm not gonna have to do that for a while now. He would finish, I guess, in my mouth, and I just hated the taste of it. And that's why I started putting the sin.
Wow. How are guys doing? I am over here just trying to get through the next 20 minutes of this episode and be okay. Okay? That's what I'm trying to do. It's like, it gets worse and worse. And it's like, that these things happened, right? Like, it's coming, you're gonna have to hear it. But when you hear it, you're just kind of like, you're fucking lying to me. This cannot be real. But no, people are just capable of this. Oh my God.
I would think, oh, well, maybe next time he'll do a mouth massage to me, or it'll just not be the rough sex. I never wanted it to be the rough sex.
And what was rough sex like?
We haven't even got to the rough sex. He hasn't explained the rough sex yet. This cannot be a thing. I can't. I don't know if I can take this.
I'd have to kneel on the headboard. Like, this is what the Greeks did. This is how they toughened themselves up to make things not hurt. So if it hurt, you had to try to get through it. So I'd be inserting objects into my, or like.
To sit here, oh God, I feel like somehow we always end up back on this fucking man conversation, tough conversation. And it's like this like whole dynamic, and like that's kind of what like the father's abuse stemmed off of, was like, you need to be tough. This is going to show you how to be tough. This is what it looks like to be a man, or to be tough as a man. And that is the dynamic of that has just kind of breeded such a false narrative, and it's so fucking sad. And honestly, I guess maybe at the time, like in this time frame, that made sense. I know plenty of people who are kind of older, who kind of do like the tough thing, like act like a man thing, like the gender role thing, but like he's talking about like sodomy. He's talking about sodomy as a kid, dude. Like the amount of like, I couldn't even fathom how much noise was in his brain at that time. Either of them. I couldn't even fathom how much noise is going on in there. Just, is this right? Is this wrong? Why does it feel like this? Why does it feel good sometimes? Why does it feel bad sometimes? I feel dirty. I feel disgusting. I feel shamed. I feel guilty. I can't even imagine how loud it was up there for him. And the whole time he's thinking, and he's saying it, this whole time he's thinking, if I can just get through it, then I'll be okay. If I can just get through it. And he's comparing it to Christmas morning. The morning where kids wake up and they're so excited for presents. He's comparing it to that moment. Getting through the abuse, that's what he's comparing it to. If that doesn't put into perspective just how bad things were in that house, I don't know what will.
But when he's tying something around your penis like a rope, or like I don't think that's supposed to make someone tough. That's what you do to someone you hate, you know?
I think it's interesting too that yes, he's absolutely right. That is torture. What you're doing is torturing somebody. That is literal torture, babes. Literal torture. But what I think is interesting is one, I'm gonna refer back to when I said that he has a very childlike mannerisms and very childlike vocal tones. Like when he talks, it sounds like I'm listening to a child tell me this story, and not in a way to diminish who he is or how old he is or how much he's grown, but like in a way of like, it's almost like time stopped the minute that the abuse started, and he kept living, but like age-wise, he kind of just stopped. Because like when I'm listening to him, it sounds like a child is describing. He's like, but I don't think that that's what a dad is supposed to do. Like, he sounds like a child, and I would imagine it was like a stopgap to protect himself. And then it's like the floodgates have just opened because Leslie's trying to kind of confide and like not confide but like to kind of console him, and she's like, you didn't deserve it, and he's just like, and then it's like the floodgates are open. He feels safe and he feels comfortable enough to share this with you now, so he wants to tell you everything, and it's coming back to him in pieces.
And I still love him so much, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to be in here for the rest of my life. Like, it wasn't the rough sex and the pins and the rope that were the torture. Like that would be the torture to
Somebody tell me if that's an actual quote. Tell me if that's an actual quote, if that was written, because that was spectacularly said. It wasn't the rough sex or the ropes or the like that wasn't the torture. It would be having the thought of, I loved my dad and I still love my dad. That would be torture. Living with that thought for the rest of my life by myself, cooped up in prison. That would be torture. That speaks volumes to what he has endured. I still love him. Something has to be wrong with me because I still love this person who did this to me. Do you know how many times we break off situations and relationships with people because it hurts me so much? And we still love them, right? And that's just like a relationship, right? You get cheated on, okay? You get in an argument, you lose trust, there's betrayal, you go your separate ways, but you still love them. And that feels okay, right? And it might not in that moment, but this is somebody who as a child was repeatedly abused over and over, sexually, mentally, emotionally, physically, over and over and over again. And he goes, and I still love him. Because he's thinking something's got to be wrong with me. How can I still love somebody that did all of that to me? And it's because we know no better. Love is such a powerful, powerful emotion. And we're not capable of hate, not in our core, not in our spirit, not in our soul. Hate is not a thing. Love, though, it's so powerful. And it's because we choose to still try to see the best in people. That's why we love the people who hurt us the most, especially the people who hurt us the most.
And that's why LYLE used to say, you know, Erik, they'd be proud of us. And
He said that in the first episode.
But then, he probably would, you know? Like in heaven right now, he'd be looking down and he'd say, thank you, Erik.
Well,
you know, you did what you had to do to me because what I did to you was really wrong.
As I'm listening to him talk, I feel like I'm listening to I feel like I'm listening to a real person tell me their story. And the way that he talks is as much as the script was written for him. And this really defines a great actor from a good actor. A great actor is going to take that script, and I'm not going to, babe, I don't even, did he have a script? Did he have a script? Because it doesn't feel like it. That is hard to do. That is hard to do intentionally, right? The hiccup moments or the little mannerisms or the way that you change your tone or the way that you kind of skip a beat or you repeat a sentence or you stagger through a sentence or you stagger through a line, like that is hard to do, and it's hard to coach, and it's hard to teach, right? So he's doing such a good job at telling this story, and now I see why they set the camera up like this. When you have such a talented person who can get it across in the way that he does, it is so beautifully done that I'm forgetting that this is even entertainment. I'm forgetting that this is acting. I feel like I'm watching the real person tell me what's going on, and that's saying something.
You are just an incredible person, and I just have to say it. And
thank you.
You know, my father was a fucking son of a bitch.
Really?
Yeah. You don't have to forgive him.
I love that she is giving him his credit where credit is due. I think that the reason why she is so talented and so good at her job, and the reason why I love her so much, is because when she is talking to you, she genuinely sees you. Like, I feel like she sees him in this moment. She sees who this man is. I see you, not for what you did to your parents, not for what your parents did to you. I see you for who you are and who you could be. And to have that gift as a defense attorney must be so overwhelming, because when you can see somebody for who they could be, all you want to do is defend them. I know, because we all do it, right? We see the best version in people and we want them to be that. So we'll defend them at all costs. And I think that that's what she's doing. And I love that he's just so at peace with her. He smiles at her, he kind of laughs with her. And then she kind of says, "You're amazing." And you can see how uncomfortable he is, because the only time he's ever been told that is when sexual gratification followed by somebody he didn't want it to. So it's just like, for him, it's kind of hard to hear something like that, and you kind of shy away, and he's leaning away from her because he's getting uncomfortable. Not at her, I don't think. I think just that anytime he's ever heard somebody say anything positive about him, it's always been from his father, and it's always come right before or right after his father abused him. So he still has a lot of work to do in breaking that cycle and breaking that mentality and breaking that belief system, and kind of reprogramming himself to understand that it's okay and people do love you, and that's not what love is supposed to look like, not even a little bit.
Where was your mother in all of this?
With Lyle, she would sometimes get naked, inspect my...
Penis?
Yeah. I was coming between them. And that...
I feel like I've said it 18 fucking times already. I feel like I've already said this 18 times. What are we not understanding, do you think? Where are we lacking? Where's the lack here? What do we think is missing here, do you think? What is missing? Even this, like, she would get undressed, she would get naked, and she just wanted to look, and she just wanted us to think that she had a nice body, and then she'd start to inspect my penis, and then she thought that I was coming in between her and my dad. Girl, if you don't fix your damn insecurities, I don't have time for it, because look what you did to your kids. And I think that what happens is that when one person is the abuser, when one parent is the abuser and the other one knows about it, I think also, too, when you have an abuser like Jose, it is so heavy and the abuse is so bad that as a child, you almost bail out your parent, the other parent. You bail them out, because it's like, if I have to deal with this, well, what do you have to deal with? And so you obviously hear the story about him raping her, or the dad raping her supposedly, and then that kind of trickles into like, well, she just felt like I was getting in between them. And then it's like, but it's not. And then that's why Leslie's like, don't defend her. What we're not going to do is defend her. And she's absolutely right. There's no excuse. She knew about the abuse. She knew. And I think he just wanted to love his mom. I think he wanted one of his parents to love. I think that's what he wanted.
Why would she think you would get AIDS? And before you answer that, I just want to say that I am not your mother, okay? And frankly, I don't like your mother.
Yeah, but
I'm
she was
sorry.
actually...
No, that's not a mother, Eric.
I love that she is doing this to him. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like your mom, frankly. I love that she's doing this thing where she's being so brutally honest with him. That's not a mother. That's not what a mother does. A mother doesn't do that. Why does she care? And you can tell that he just wants to defend her. Like I said, he loved his mom. And I believe that fully. And I think that he wanted that care and compassion. And I don't know the extent of their relationship, but if her relationship was falling apart and she blamed her sons, then I would imagine that at some point she started to separate from Erik as well. And I love that Leslie is pushing this, not because she's pushing and pushing and pushing so hard to get him to say something, but she's pushing to remind him that that's not how a parent is, and that's not how a parent is supposed to act. And I think that if that's all you've ever known growing up, and of course anything probably felt closer than the dad, anything probably felt closer. I think that when that's all you've ever known, That's, you couldn't imagine saying anything bad about her. But that wasn't the same tune, remember? Well, she didn't care about her life, so we just figured we'd put her out of her misery. So it's just interesting. It's very interesting to see the dynamic of his relationship with his father versus his relationship with his mother.
Where she could have said, no, not my son. You deserved better than me. Won't even mention your father, that goes without saying. Is in a place, is all I'll say.
In a place called hell. I'll say it for her. In a place called hell.
You deserved better. Okay, so that's just where I'm coming from.
Give her snaps and her claps.
I don't know what way you are and what way you're supposed to be when that's your childhood. With the inspections when I was 16, because I was kind of in love with a boy.
Was this okay? Was it Craig? Now I am aware that Erik, like our real life Erik, has denied being gay, and he married a woman as well as LYLE. So I know that this isn't 100% accurate. So does that also go for the mother as well? And will I find out more of her role in this, or did she play a role in the physical part of the abuse, is my question there.
Okay.
But it was because I was having sex with my dad, you know, like that's not normal, and that made me not normal. So
I also think it's interesting because at this time it wasn't appropriate to be with another man, I guess. Wow, the LGBTQ community has come so far. Yes, so I can see why even that's hard for him to say, and he kind of blames it on the abuse, which is definitely a possibility. I think if we're talking in this realm, in this world, in this storyline, I think that that's definitely a possible thing, that he was kind of confused, so he kind of had feelings for men because of it. But it's also possible that's not a thing. I know people who have been sexually assaulted or sexually abused and they won't ever have sex again. I know people who are the complete opposite and they have a lot of sex to take back that power and control. So I think that anything is possible, but I think for this storyline, it does make sense. And I think it's interesting how hard that is for him to even say out loud, unless it's just like, okay, of course she is. What a queen.
like he broke me. I'm a broken person.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. He broke me in two. He cracked me in half. When the only man you want to love does that to you, you stop being real. I am the hurt man.
That's the name for yourself?
Yes, since
when you were little.
For as long as I can remember.
I have to pause to talk really quickly because I know the episode's getting ready to end, and I want to be able to put a lot of that little chunk in for you guys because I feel like that was so important. The Zoom sped up. The more that he talked, the faster he started talking, the Zoom sped up. And it was almost, golly, I felt like he was being distorted in that second. And it was so interesting because the closer that we're getting on him with the camera, the more distorted he's looking. And then you can kind of start to see just all of his features, which I think is so interesting. I don't know why I think that that's interesting, but seeing all of his features is so interesting because this is a man who has been through hell, literally walked through hell and back, and he is broken. He is broken. And I loved when he said, you're going to tell people that I'm one thing and I don't know if I am. I don't know what I like, and I'll never know because of what my dad did to me. And he's so right. I'll never know. I'll never be able to tell if I was going to be gay or if it was just because you forced this upon me. And I found out that, oh, I might be gay here. But I'll never know for myself. You broke me. So I understand what he's saying. And what she's saying is right. You're not broken. You're real. A lot of the times we think that we're broken, and that's not what's happening. We're not broken. Because broken things cannot be put back together, but he can be put back together, and I'm sure he will in due time. It's gonna take a lot of time though, and again, he's just a fucking phenomenal actor. He is a phenomenal actor.
I shot my mom in the face. And my dad, I think. I will never really know who I am if I don't get out of here. I'll never know.
It's interesting because I feel like at the end there, they tried to make him look like a sociopath. And I think the problem is you can't make somebody look like... Sociopaths don't hurt, babe. Sociopaths don't hurt. So he's not a sociopath. And I think that that's the first thing that I would tell him is you're not a sociopath and you're not broken. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that he's kind of been thriving as much as you can thrive in prison for this. But I think that he's been thriving. I feel like I've seen great things about him. That he got married, that he was happy, that he's made friends, that he's been doing really well behind bars, like as good as he can do. So I'm glad to know that that does happen. But this episode, this one was so well done. That was shot in a one shot. That means that the camera started and didn't stop rolling until they were done, until that very last scene. They yelled cut. And that is so telling of the acting in that moment. It's telling of the team behind it. That is not an easy thing to do. I personally favor the one shot. I love a good one shot. I think I love a good one shot because again, it just kind of is telling of the acting. And if you can pull anything off in a one shot, it means that you've done the job properly. And I think that when you do it like that, when there are not so many cuts, your focus doesn't go away, right? When you cut between this and that, your brain kind of like resets and it goes, okay, we're in a new place. Okay, we're in a new place. But in this scene, we were in there the entire time. I felt like I was in the room with him, and I'm sure that that's what they were going for, and they hit the nail on the head with that. Beautifully filmed episode. And it was a beautiful way for us to find out who Erik truly is in this moment. And you can see how hurt he is, and I don't think that hurt is going to stay with him forever. I think that it's not going to be something that goes away, but every single day I think it kind of shrinks a little bit more, hopefully. And I hope that him finding peace will do that for him. That was a heavy episode. Golly, that was a tough episode. It was a tough episode because I'm just sitting there listening to the story. I don't know what else to do. I have 4 more episodes to watch, and I'm watching these 2 at a time, which is kind of insane. I feel like I don't know how I got this far this fast, but I feel like I got here fast. I have 4 more episodes to go. I'm excited to finish that up. I'm excited to watch the actual docs. I'm more terrified about watching the actual documentaries, and let me explain to you why I'm more terrified. I'm more terrified to watch the actual documentaries because, at least with this, I know it's acting. With that, it's not acting. When you're watching actual documentary, like, that's not acting. Like, that's real life, babes. Shit, man, I'm gonna be a wreck watching that. But I'm gonna watch it because you want me to. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm 4 episodes away from being done with this, and then we're gonna need something else to watch, you guys. So let me know what you guys want to watch. I think I might watch Trap. I'm not sure just yet. That is on my list of things that I need to watch. There's a couple of movies that came out on Netflix that I wanted to watch, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna watch them, I might as well just watch them with the fam. So yeah, I'm excited. I thought that these 2 episodes were really good. They were really telling. I think that I'm glad that I got to see more of kind of the build-up. And then I've seen the accusations, and I'm so tired of having to say allegedly, so I'm just not going to anymore. They did it. I know. So I'm assuming now we're gonna start getting into the trial portion. That's the part I'm gonna be most annoyed about because I know what the outcome of the trial is. I know what the outcome of this whole thing is, and I'm fine. But now that I'm getting closer to like seeing the trial and listening to the prosecution's bullshit theories, can you tell? I picked a side and I'm sticking to it. I'm a little bit nervous, but nevertheless, I will prevail. Yeah, this was fun. I'm excited. I'm glad that I've gotten this far. Thank you for sticking around with me. If you stayed till the end, wonderful. And you loved it, great. If you hated it, I'm sorry, but thank you for watching. And look out for Patreon, look out for all of the socials. Obviously, I'm posting on there more than I'm posting on here. So yeah, connect with me. Let me know what you think. I love having great conversations about great TV and great film. So if you want to connect and you want to be a part of that kind of journey with me, then dope, head over to Patreon, follow me on social media. However you want to connect is cool and fine by me, because I'm always looking for more people to share in this world, because it's a vast world and there's a lot going on in it at all times. But when you get to kind of sit down and digest a film or a TV show, it's fun to do with other people. So yeah, so just check me out, Patreon, find me on social media, let's connect there. Other than that, be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and above all else, I love you.